Hi, everybody. I'm here with Jonathan Cohen, who leads recruitment at a company called the Barnet Group. Jonathan, thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to me today about recruiter enablement. Give us a quick intro. Tell us a bit about your background in recruitment, and also tell us a bit about what does the Barnet Group do?
Sure. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Cohen. The Barnet Group is actually an interesting business that I'd never heard of before. It's owned by Barnet Council. Basically, Barnet Council are funded by central government. They have the Barnet Group, and the Barnet Council give the Barnet Group money to provide the services. So we basically look after the entire housing stock of the London Borough of Barnet, around 14,500 homes. We look after the day centres, the care homes. We take care of the repairs for that. And we also have an interesting organisation called Boost, and Boost for the London Borough of Barnet help people who have been out of work for a long time get back into work. They will look at helping them write their CVs, interview skills, doing applications, helping them understand technology better. And in fact, I'm running some courses for the team at Boost on what a good CV looks like and how to interview people to get the best out of them. I've been there now 4 months. Really interesting. I've never worked in that sector before, but it's an amazing company. And the care workers that I've met, the services I've visited are just inspirational. I couldn't do their job. They have a real job compared to what I do for a living.
You didn't start in recruitment at the Barnet Group. What did you do before that? How did you get here? Tell us a bit about like some of the organizations you work for.
Okay, so I've been in recruitment now for more than 30 years. Started off at Robert Walters, an agency. Had my own business, worked for various other agencies, ending up predominantly in executive search, where I finished off at Norman Broadbent. Then decided I had had enough of being on that side of the desk, and thought, well, I use the skills that I've learned to go in-house and perhaps make in-house recruitment maybe a little bit more professional, help them understand what it's like to work with an agency, and also to do more direct recruitment, because I thought, well, if I'm helping companies find people at senior level and they're paying us a lot of money, maybe I can go into an organization and help them find the people without having to pay all the money. Obviously, my agency friends are not very happy about that, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been in-house now for almost 12 years. First in-house role was at PwC via Randstad Sourceright. Then I was at HSBC via AMS and PA Consulting. And then I did some direct in-house roles at Prudential. I had a global director of recruiting role at an American investment management consulting business, Cambridge Associates. Then moved into the tech space, which my kids thought was hysterical, that their dad was working for Microsoft, recruiting very techie Java developers and people that specialized in the cloud, all of that kind of thing. And I worked for the Open University, so I spent time in higher education where I set up a brand new recruitment function from them from scratch. So I've had a really good career so far, and the opportunity to work at the Barnet Group came up after I spent a year at Corn Ferry in their projects team doing technology recruitment. So a wide and varied career, but I've had a really good time. Still enjoying it.
Yes, and it's not getting easier, even though you've moved out of tech, because hiring care workers is no less challenging. In fact, probably even more challenging than hiring Java developers, right?
Adam, I'm glad you said that, because I thought that going into someone at the Barnet Group, life would be a little bit easier, be easy to find people. But no, the competition for care workers is absolutely enormous. Unfortunately, they're not paid very well, and I don't want to be hypocritical. I didn't know about the sector till I joined, but having visited some of the day centres and care homes that the Barnet Group are responsible for, the work they do with some profoundly disabled service users, either with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, some with both, some spend all day in wheelchairs. The work they do is phenomenal. Interestingly, the other area that's very tough to recruit in, believe it or not, is repairs. Finding good plumbers, plasterers, decorators, all kinds of tradespeople. Competition is huge, and a lot of those guys are only interested in money. So it doesn't matter what benefits you have. If you're not paying the most money, they're not interested. But the Barnet Group didn't have someone to head up the recruitment function before. They're very keen to learn and embrace new technologies and new ways of doing things, getting involved with social media, using things like CV Library, which they thought about but never used. So it's really interesting. And I've been there 4 months of a 9-month contract. I really hope the contract's extended, or maybe the job even goes perm, because it's a really interesting place to work. I like the fact it's not for profit because there are no shareholders to keep happy, only the council to make sure that we're spending the money as wisely as we can. So there's a different set of priorities to those that I've had in the corporate world that I've come from to this place.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about recruiter enablement. So what is recruiter enablement to you? And could you give us some examples of where it's been important to your teams, and maybe some of the things that we need to be thinking about?
I think recruiter enablement covers a number of different areas, but for me, the phrase itself, recruiter enablement, if you look at it and take the direct definition, it's enabling or giving recruiters what they need to be able to do their job.
Yeah.
In different organizations, that will mean different things, but at a very basic level, make sure that recruiters today have decent technology that works, that if they're working remotely, they've got the right level of Wi-Fi and they can make their calls and Zoom and Teams and all the rest of it. Make sure that they understand what they need to do and what their job is, because if they don't, if you don't enable them to do the job and let them do what you've brought them in to do, then they get confused, they get annoyed, they get frustrated because you give them different messages. So enablement is not, for me, just about technology. It's about giving recruiters clear messages. If I use where I am at the moment, the Barnet Group, before I joined them, had a great HR team, but everyone in HR did a little bit of everything. They didn't have anybody who specialized in recruitment. So each each HR administrator would 1 minute be looking after recruitment, next minute perhaps something to do with employee relations, the next minute there might be an issue on payroll. And so there was no real focus on recruitment. The Barnet Group had a consultant come in and have a look at what they were doing because they realized it wasn't working necessarily the way that it should. And the consultant's conclusions were that they had to restructure the HR departments. So you had people who've specialized in specific areas. So now, for the first time ever, they have a payroll manager, and that team will grow. They now have a group recruitment lead, which is myself, and I now have 2 recruitment advisors, and we're now the designated recruitment team. And the HR administrators have now become HR advisors. They've always had some HR business partners, but now the HR business partners have HR advisors who work with them, and the aim is that the HR advisors will eventually grow to become HR business partners. The Barnet Group is around 1,000 people, and I was surprised to learn they didn't have a dedicated recruitment team.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing about it is that they were reliant heavily, or still are reliant heavily, on agency. Why is that? Because they didn't give the recruiters the tools they needed to do it. No access to databases like Indeed or CV Library. So when I joined, one of the first things I did when they told me about the restructure was to make clear to my boss, who's the head of HR, that I wanted to enable the recruiters to do their jobs by giving them what they needed. That meant time. If you give them too much to do, they can't do the job. So that's a very basic element of enablement. To give them decent technology, which we've got, and then to start giving them the tools they need to find people. You can't magic them out of a box. Care workers, generally speaking, are not on LinkedIn.
No.
However, you will find them on Instagram, you will find them on Facebook. And so it was about increasing giving the recruiters the power to access Facebook and Instagram and Twitter to be able to post jobs on those forums. Yes, we've been looking for head of business intelligence, and that we actually advertise in the Guardian. Local authority jobs, that's a good place to do it. The initial reaction of the hiring manager was need to go to agency. I said, no, I said, let's try and do it direct and save money. The same, there's a learning and development, there's a people development team, and they had a couple of senior roles to fill. Initial discussion, yeah, we'll go to agency. I said, no, we need to try and do it direct. So the net result is by enabling my recruitment team to go out direct and advertise on the CIPD website and to advertise in the Guardian and the Times. We've now filled 3 or 4 roles that would normally have gone to agency, and we've saved in the region of £35,000 to £40,000 in fees. Now, to those in your audience out there who work in, big tech or in large corporates, that may not sound like a lot of money, but to the Barnet Group, £40,000 would pay for 2 more care workers a year. That's how badly paid the care workers are, but that's where the money needs to go. And I've set myself a target of saving between 5 and 10% of last year's agency costs. Forgive me, I don't want to talk about what the costs were because my bosses might think that's confidential, but I've set myself a target. So enabling recruiters for me is about all kinds of things. Help them learn, help them train them to be better at what they do. If they've never done direct sourcing, show them what direct sourcing is. Let them watch other YouTube channels and videos where there are lots of really great people who will give you a lot of really good tips and tricks, and it doesn't cost anything. I think technology is very important to enable recruiters, but I don't think it's the most important thing. I think the most important thing is to explain to recruiters that it's not just about looking for candidates on the internet. It's about trying to find people through using the telephone. If I go back to when I first started in recruitment, to enable me as a recruiter, I needed a telephone and a Rolodex and a pad of paper that I could write things down on. I needed to have a decent imagination to write a job ad that would be posted in the Financial Times on a Wednesday if it was a banking job, Financial Times on a Thursday if it was an accounting job, and if it was a more exec job, it would be the Sunday Times. And oh my goodness, the Sunday Times quarter page was about £13,000.
Back then, I know, I remember.
Unbelievable. So enabling recruiters today is about giving them the right or the ability to do the job, explain what they're supposed to do, and then let them do it. If they want to phone every candidate that's applied to say, sorry, you weren't successful, let them. It may be that if you've got hundreds and hundreds of applicants, that's not very a good use of time. However, don't just say, well, if you know, the current bugbear I have is firms that send out this message saying, thank you very much for your application. We've had so many applicants, we won't be able to get back to you. So if you haven't heard in the next 5 to 7 days or whatever time frame they put, you should assume you haven't been successful. With modern technology, that's just lazy. You can set up your ATS to send out a response, but give the recruiters the ability to, or the desire to give candidates a good experience. Give the recruiters the tools they need to find people, to talk to people, and to encourage them to use their own initiative. You know, the recruitment is not rocket science. A very wise man once said to me when I first started in recruitment, recruitment's a simple process complicated by people. Because at the end of the day, if you want to buy a pen, you buy the pen, you decide what pen you want to buy. The pen can't say, I don't want to come and be on your desk. Whereas somebody that you want to hire might say, you know what, Jonathan, thank you very much, but someone else has made me a better offer, or I've decided I'm going to go somewhere else, or I'm going to stay where I am. And it's true. So let's try and uncomplicate things. Enable the recruiters in your teams to do their job by giving them clear instructions, train them, make sure that they know what you expect of them, and do not give them ridiculous targets. It's easy to say that you want someone on the phone 3 or 4 hours a day. Fine, I can phone my granny, I can phone my friends, and on your system it will show that I've been talking for 4 hours. I say to my teams, particularly the 2 people in my team at the moment, get on the phone, do your best. I'm not worried about how many people you speak to in a day. If you speak to 4 people and 3 of them want interviews, that's way better than you speak to 25 or 30 just to tell me you spoke to 30 people. If none of them are interested in working for us, well, that's no use. That doesn't mean that you might not have the odd day where you speak to loads of people who are not interested. But I say to them, I enable them, and we're using the word because we're talking about, I enable my team to do their job by not crippling them with ridiculous targets of numbers of people or numbers of calls or numbers of CVs that they have to send to the hiring managers. I want them to communicate with people, and my rule's simple. First choice is face-to-face. Second choice is telephone. Third choice is email or instant message. But if your email is the messaging, follow up. If you've had a conversation, follow up by email. But if it's only by email, you can't build relationships. So again, encourage the recruiters to build the relationships that they need with hiring managers, with candidates, and that means speaking to them. You know, some hiring managers said to me, oh, I've emailed several candidates. And I said to one the other day, how many have you spoken to? Oh, none. They're coming in for interviews. I said, but how do you know you want to see them? Why have you not had an initial conversation to find out, A, do they speak decent English, because unfortunately, whether we like it or not, if candidates don't speak good enough English, then they won't be able to work in a care home or a day centre, because the service users need people that speak fluent English. I said you may end up wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. Jonathan, we're going to have to leave it there. We've got a lot of great information from you about recruiter enablement, your position on recruiter enablement, and you just talked a lot of common sense there. I want to give a quick shout out to your wife's charity, Small Acts of Kindness. We're going to put a little bit of commentary on the description on YouTube and on LinkedIn that's attached to this video about Small Acts of Kindness. Jonathan, thank you very much for taking the time to join me today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.